Lesson 2. Hierarchy. Ancient Greek society was made up of a hierarchy which determined an individual's social status and privileges. The hierarchy was based on factors such as birth, wealth, and citizenship. A general overview of the ancient Greek hierarchy. Citizens had top status. They were male freeborn citizens. They had full political rights and could vote and hold office. Metics were middle status. They were foreign freeborn individuals. They had limited political rights and had to pay taxes and serve in the military. Free women were lower status. They were freeborn women and they had limited rights with restricted social and political participations. Mainly they were confined to domestic duties. Slaves. They were bottom status. They were owned by others. They had no rights or freedoms and had to perform tasks such as household chores and farming. Jobs. Some common ancient Greek jobs included farmers. Agriculture was a crucial occupation in ancient Greece. Farmers cultivated crops such as wheat, barley, olives, and grapes. They also raised livestock including sheep, goats, and cattle. Artisans and craftsmen. These included potters, blacksmiths, metalworkers, weavers, sculptors, painters, and jewellers. These individuals produced various goods from pottery to metalwork, textiles and artwork. Merchants and traders. These are people that engaged in both local and international trade, exchanging goods such as olive oil and wine, pottery, textiles and precious metals. They often travelled by sea and established trading networks throughout the Mediterranean. Soldiers and warriors. Men served as soldiers in the city-state armies. Some men also served as mercenaries, fighting for pay in foreign armies. Politicians and statesmen. Men who held political power and served in government positions were known as politicians and statesmen. They made decisions regarding the city-state's governance. Philosophers and scholars. Prominent figures such as Socrates, Plato and Aristotle contributed to philosophy, maths, science and literature. Priests and priestesses. Priests and priestesses served in temples, conducted religious ceremonies and performed rituals dedicated to various gods and goddesses. Doctors and healers. Doctors and healers treated illnesses and injuries using herbal remedies, diet, physical therapies. They also performed surgeries and set broken bones. Teachers and educators. Education was highly valued in ancient Greece. Teachers and educators taught subjects such as reading, writing, maths, music, and physical education to boys from wealthy families. Slaves and servants. Slavery was prevalent in ancient Greece, and slaves performed various tasks within different occupations. They worked as servants, farmers, and skilled craftsmen. Slavery. Slavery was a common practice in many ancient civilizations, including ancient Greece. Slaves were considered property and were owned by individuals or households. They were usually captured in wars, bought in slave markets, or born into slavery. Slaves were believed to be an essential part of the Greek economy and society, as they provided the labour needed for various activities. Slaves were expected to work for their owners, performing various tasks such as household chores, farming, or working in mines or workshops. The type of work and conditions varied, but slaves generally had little control over their own labour. Slaves had no personal freedom and were considered the property of their owners. They could not make decisions about their own lives, and their owners had complete control over them. Slaves had limited legal rights and protections. They could not own property, marry freely, or participate in political life. Slaves were subject to the will and whims of their owners. While some slaves were treated relatively well, others faced physical abuse, mistreatment, and harsh living conditions. Slaves were often seen as inferior to free citizens and were sometimes subjected to punishment or cruelty.